Hello everyone, I'm Brian Croydragon. Yes, we're still with this setup. So what can I say? I've been continuing with my Halloween movie marathon. Watched The Birds, both versions of Clash of the Titans, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Creepshow, the first two Darkman films. Also watched one of the special features on the Creature from the Black Lagoon DVD. And one of the things that I find astounding is not the working title for Creature from the Black Lagoon, which was simply Black Lagoon. No, it's not. Nor is it the fact that the Gill Man was originally more eel-like in appearance. It's, well, how do I put this? There's something very important to, note about one of the things that has kept the film from falling into obscurity, and that would be the fact that out of the Universal monsters, the Gill Man is the one that gets the most merchandising. I mean, good lord, models, toys, a crossover action figure with the Ninja Turtles where it was Leonardo as the Gill Man. A Christmas ornament where he's dressed up as Santa. It's really something. Of course, I'd known about the Ninja Turtles crossover figure before. One time long ago, I was particularly bored, so went looking through the entire toy section of the Ninja Turtles website. Rather than just looking at the figures of the characters who interested me, I just looked at them all and saw, yeah, these things. So they did it twice. The first time with all of the turtles, the next time excluding one so they could do April as the Bride of Frankenstein. So Raphael was the mummy the first time around. Leonardo was the Wolfman. I think Michelangelo was Frankenstein's monster, and I think Donatello was Dracula. The second time around, yeah, as I mentioned, Leonardo was the Gill Man, the creature from the Black Lagoon as they called him. Just when you think I've figured out this not responding nonsense. Raphael was actually the Invisible Man. As I said, April was the Bride of Frankenstein, and Michelangelo was some mutant from some 1950s Universal horror film. Really, it wasn't anything that interested me. I was a Turtles fan, but I wasn't a Universal Monsters fan at the time. So, those action figures were for people who were fans of both. It's much like the Star Trek one they also did. Uh, the Ninja Turtles are Star Trek characters. Of course, not a Star Trek fan, so wouldn't really have interested me. It's, strange. First time just the Turtles, second time 3 of the Turtles in April. It's too bad. I mean, yeah, this was the era of the Fred Ruff show, and probably just a bit after. So they didn't think about doing any other characters. No Splinter, no Shredder, no Bebop or Rocksteady, since they were from the show that it was promoting. Of course, that probably just begs the question of what Universal horror characters those other characters would have been done as. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, if I learned anything from the merchandising segment on that documentary, Return to the Black Lagoon, it's that merchandising can be weird. I think the reason that the crossover figures were done for the Ninja Turtles is because Playmates, or whoever it was who was/is who owns the right to produce Ninja Turtles toys, also has had the right to create Universal Monsters merchandise. So that was basically it. Apparently, I mean, they apparently also had the Star Trek rights, so that makes sense too. But the Gilman as Santa, dressed as Santa for a Christmas ornament. I mean, it's weird, but I guess it makes more sense than a good portion of the stuff I see at Hallmarks. Well, maybe not really. A lot of the ornaments are Christmas related, but then you got stuff that very much isn't. I've seen a King Kong ornament in the past. I've seen a Godzilla ornament. I've of course seen Gone with the Wind, Barbie, various things that are not Christmas themed. Yeah, merchandising is kind of weird. And something that was important to note is that, yeah, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Gilman as he's properly called, but he's called that in a different work, but he's been called the creature from the Black Lagoon as well, and he was called that in the Universal produced animated series Monster Force, so yeah, even Universal forgets what their creation is properly called. Yeah, besides that, well, there's the original trilogy, there's Monster Squad. There's Monster Force. But there's not really any other screen appearances of the Gilman I know of, and by that I mean like official appearances outside of spoofs, parodies, or things like that. And even then, those are kind of rare. I know he has a cameo at the end of Scooby-Doo in the Goon School. Apparently he appeared in a character based off of him appeared in an episode of The Monsters, which I never watched, but apparently my dad loved it enough to he loved it, but he didn't know well enough to differentiate it from the Addams Family. I remember when I was a kid, we were watching the animated series of the Addams Family. My dad walked in and he said, "Oh, I love the monsters," to which my mom said, "It's the Addams Family." Oh, that was amazing. But it was also my first case of someone confusing one work with a competing work. I mean, obviously The Monsters hasn't been on the air for a long time, and unlike the Addams Family, it hasn't gotten much in the way of revivals. It hasn't gotten any animated series, it hasn't gotten any movies, to my knowledge. The Addams Family is really the more famous of the two. And the fact that my dad thought it was The Monsters really goes to show which show was more popular at the time in his house, or just what channel they probably watched, because let's face it, there was, what, only 3 channels back then? Yeah. And I've actually done my research on the Addams Family, like the character of Uncle Fester. Interesting thing to note, in the original comic strip, he didn't even, whoops, there wasn't any specification of which side of the family he came from. Initially, when the TV show came along, he was, at least I think it was the TV show, he was a member of Morticia's family, but later works actually made him Gomez's brother, so there you go. We have a character who's just Uncle Fester to Fester Adams. It's kind of weird how things like that work. Oh, here comes Alex. Yes. Alex? Hey, you. Who's an alley Alex? Alex Bob Alex. You know, bringing up those crossover figures, you know, combining Ninja Turtles with the Universal Monsters or even the Star Trek characters, reminds me of something that really did, interest. That that was resulted to things that did interest me, and not just one. I mean, okay, let me explain. As I said, not a fan of Star Trek, and I wasn't a fan of the Universal Monsters at the time, and even if I had been, those toys were no longer in production. Later, sometime, um, between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, Hasbro... No, wait, I think it was around Revenge of the Sith. Hasbro, because, you know, they got they're the owners of Transformers, and they've got the rights to doing the Star Wars toys, so, of course, combine Transformers and Star Wars. And so there you go. Star Wars Transformers. There's apparently even Marvel Transformers. You know, I don't really know who has the rights to the Marvel Transformers. But anyway, of course, the Slave One transformed into Boba Fett. The Jedi Starfighter, two versions of the Jedi Starfighters, maybe three. Yeah, I think three, actually. One transformed into Obi-Wan, another transformed into Anakin, and another transformed into Darth Vader. Which I know, Anakin didn't actually... Well, technically he did, but not with the suit and everything. He was dubbed Darth Vader and he flew a green Jedi Starfighter, but he didn't. But I'm talking about the, you know, the look we all know, the black suit and everything. Good lord, I'm tired. It's morning. Oh, jeez. The Death Star transformed into Emperor Palpatine, if memory serves correctly, and yeah, that's all I remember. I don't really remember the Marvel Transformers figures either. I think Venom turned into either a car or a motorcycle. I can't remember. Iron Man, the Hulk, Spider-Man. Yeah, really can't remember. But yeah, these weird merchandising things. Unless people are a fan of both, you're really not gonna get as much products sold as you think you are. Good lord, I'm talking about merchandising now. Good lord, and unlike comics, movies, literature, or stuff like that, it's not even something I take a class on or anything. Yeah, it's not really anything I've taken a class that I ever took a class on. But it's just my now commentary on this whole merchandising thing. So, I finished Doug Days yesterday. Wonderful little series of shorts from Pixar. Ed Asner's final role. It was very, very nice. And then I started Star Wars Visions yesterday evening. Watched the first duel, the duel in Tatooine Rhapsody. Again, they're shorts, each one by a different anime studio. Excuse me one moment. Okay, we're back. So, as I was saying, Star Wars Visions. Very good. Watched the duel. And it almost looks live action. It's very, very interesting. Also interesting to see something Star Wars that's in black and white. black and white. Yeah, that's what it is. And it kind of reminded me of this comic book miniseries, Boba Fett, Death, Lies, and Treachery, which was collected into a graphic novel and later into an omnibus of Boba Fett adventures. And that, well, it wasn't black and white, but the characters weren't the colors you'd expect them to be. Meaning it was... There wasn't as much colors as there was just shades. But, okay, I don't know how to describe this. I guess there technically were colors, but it was like, how do I put this? It was kind of like everyone was in sepia tone, if sepia tone is not the word. I think that's the word. It's kind of like it was done in sepia tone. If I'm thinking about the correct thing. So that's kind of what it was like, and it's very much a homage to the Akira Kurosawa films. And it's too bad it's labeled as an alternate history and everything, so, because yeah, I'd like to see a lightsaber with a sheath again. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting idea. As for Tatooine Rhapsody, it's a bit more... What's going on here? When people think it's a bit more mainstream anime in look, and it focuses more on the music side of things. You've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the protagonist, a Jedi Padawan who managed to escape Order 66 and is now a singer in a band. So yeah, the music industry portion of the universe. One of the members of the band is a Hutt, who doesn't want to be in that whole crime syndicate type thing. And of course that means Jabba comes after him because there's an image to maintain. Well, more specifically, he sends Boba Fett after him. With Tamara Morrison even reprising his role, and that's awesome. So, the Padawan, I can't remember his name, but I do remember the Hutt's name. His name is Guy. The Padawan, what he does with his lightsabers is that he remakes it into a microphone, which is actually kind of neat. Yeah, it's not bad. And I'm enjoying the anthology format. I'm aware reviews have called Tatooine Rhapsody more for younger audiences, but to quote a funny way... No, wait. To quote a funny thing happened on the way to the forum, something for everyone. It's an anthology series. If there's one thing you didn't quite enjoy, if there's one short you didn't quite enjoy, there's probably others that will appeal to you. And actually exploring things like the music industry in Star Wars, because obviously there is such a thing, because we see bands and singers and all that is interesting, as is exploring what happened to other Jedi who escaped Order 66, not just Obi-Wan, Yoda, someone else whose name I can't say, because it would be a potential spoiler. Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's a shame that it's just labeled as alternate history for now, because I would like to see some of these things appear in The Mandalorian or even the Book of Boba Fett. Oh yeah, the Bad Batch too. I would like to see something like that in the Bad Batch. I mean, yeah, the Bad Batch explores the early days of the Empire, basically, but I would like to see other things. I would like to see the things in Visions not just be labeled as alternate history, because it's interesting. It's honestly nice to see a Hutt who isn't a criminal and just a regular guy. I mean, the Hutt having hair is weird, but okay. Yeah, Guy has hair. It's pretty weird. Well, maybe it's not as weird as I think it was. Just actually seeing it on screen is weird. Anon probably appeared in literature and comics was Jabba's father, and he actually had a beard. But those were static images, so maybe it's the fact that you're actually seeing it on something that's actually moving that makes it weird. I don't know, just a thought. Oh, jeez. As I said, Star Wars Visions is a anthology of shorts. They're only like 13 minutes long, so by all means, if you have time, check it out. I'll be watching some more later in the week. At some point. I mean, I also have my Halloween movie marathon going on, so... yeah, I'm not gonna be watching it all in one go. Actually, yeah, lightsaberless sheath, I like that. Might use something like that for my own, space opera, whatever I intend to call it. And they're probably just going to be called laser swords because, well, if that was good enough for George Lucas in the early drafts, I suppose that's good enough for me. Here, Alex is at the foot of the bed. I don't know what that was. I just stretched my feet out and... yeah, there he is. Oh, everyone who owns a cat knows this. Sometimes they'll just be in the middle of the bed, regardless of what part of the middle it is. the middle, or the middle of the foot of the bed, whatever. You get the idea. Laser source, maybe I should think of a different name. Something else. Now what do I call them? Oh, I don't know. And I know that typically the Empire is portrayed as evil, but yeah, in real life, it's not quite that simple. Things are not so clear cut, and a lot of the times it's been actually been two notable examples. The Roman Republic was not that good, and Athens wasn't that good either, with the Persian Empire and the Roman Empire both looking quite better in comparison. We might have a romanticized view of the Republic due to the modern view, but yeah, republics are really not any better than empires. Sometimes they're worse, sometimes they're about the same, sometimes they're better. Not often. And I know it's popular to portray empires as imperialistic, conquering civilizations, but republics are just as capable of being like that. The Roman Republic, obviously, most of the conquests weren't during the Roman Empire, they were during the Roman Republic. The Roman conquest of Egypt was actually the final conquest of the Roman Republic. The first conquest of the Roman Empire didn't begin until the reign of Claudius, the fourth emperor overall, and it wasn't finished until the reign of Domitian. Here, Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, Nero, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, Titus, Domitian. So yeah, it started with the fourth emperor, oh for God's sake, and didn't actually finish until the 11th. There was some conquest with the Roman Empire, but really not as much as with the Republic. And that's really something that I'm looking at doing differently for space operas and evil empire, an evil emperor. It's and a good republic. It's kind of it's a bit on the cliche side. Rebels aren't always good either, especially in real life. So it's a bit of my desire is to shake things up a bit. Definitely gonna base the Empire, whatever I intend on calling it, its policies on the Persian Empire. And the Republic that preceded it will definitely be based on the Roman Republic and Athens. With the rebels being conservatives who want to bring back the old institution. Things like conquest, slavery, things like that. Oh, jeez. And I'm really feeling a Flash Gordon type look. That's how I envision it in my head. I mean, I know it's not the typical idea of a space opera, or even things in general, but yeah, the Empire, an evil empire, is pretty much bordering on cliche these days. I mean, let's look at the Roman Empire. Has some good leaders, has some bad ones, had some mixed bags. But at the end of the day, it was just a civilization like any other. Yes, I'm aware there's some cases of good empires in fiction, but they're quite rare. And in my experience, it's typically China. You know, the Chinese Empire. Chinese Empire. Good lord, I can't say. That's an inaccurate name, isn't it? Because there was never one empire, there was multiple. These multiple dynasties. The Han, the Tang, the Liao, the Northern Wei, the Eastern Wei, the Western Wei, the Yuan, the Ming. Definitely not a single just one continuous civilization. It was, well, I don't know, how do I put this? It was, civilization not correct. Definitely in the same civilization. Kind of. Northern Wei, Eastern Wei, Western Wei, Proto-Mongol states, as well as a Chinese state, Yuan dynasty, part of the Mongol Empire. So yeah, things are like that. Oh geez, where am I even going with this? Well, anyway, that's all for today, everyone. I'm Brian Croydragon signing out. Stay straight.